Cross-examination. Mr. Runke, do you have any questions?
Do I? No, sir.
So, let's hear from Mr. Mosley, Mr. Herman, or is it Mr. Beecher?
Yes, Your Honor, may I inquire?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mosley.
Good afternoon.
My name is Robert Beecher, and I represent Mr. Granton, who you know as eBay, okay? I'm going to ask you some questions on what we call cross-examination. You've been through this before. If there is anything that you don't understand, please, by all means, let me know, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this is not your first rodeo in terms of testifying and cooperating, is it?
Nope.
In fact, when you were in Harrisburg back in, I think it was 89, is that when you cooperated in Harrisburg?
No.
When was that?
It wasn't 89. I don't remember.
It was a while back, though.
Yeah.
That was your first time cooperating with authorities, was it not?
Yes.
And you know that when you sit down and cooperate with federal authorities, they're not interested in just you, would that be fair to say?
Yes.
They're interested in other people. You're not going to cooperate against yourself, right?
Yes.
So, you have an interest in describing activities of people other than just yourself. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair.
And if you do so, and you have satisfied the government, convinced, I think would be a better word, and you have convinced the government that you have provided information, you stand to gain substantially, don't you?
I guess, yes.
And that means that instead of facing a term of perhaps life imprisonment, you might be facing a substantially lesser term?
Yes.
In fact, you might be facing a term of time served, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know, of course, because it's up to the judge who sentences you.
Yes.
Correct? Now, in this particular, not in this case, but in the case that you pled guilty on regarding Mr. Mosley McGriff, you recall that, of course?
Yes.
Now, that was originally a death penalty case, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And you faced a real potential of being put to death if you had been found guilty after trial?
Yes.
Now, of course, that's a significant penalty. And then you cooperated and you were facing a maximum sentence of life.
Yes.
Correct? And in fact, you are facing a maximum sentence of life imprisonment still to this day?
Yes.
And of course, it's fair to say that you are hoping for less?
Yes.
Now, I would like to point out for you, if I could, and I think it's in evidence. What's the cooperation agreement number? Is it
72, is it?
74.
74? Now, I'm going to put this on the Elmo, and I'm not so good with the Elmo. Oh, there we go. Now, I'm going to have to put my other glasses on. Just hang for a minute. This is what happens. You get a little older, you need all kinds of glasses. Okay, now I notice here in paragraph 8, this is your cooperation agreement, and it indicates things which you are going to be covered for. That means not prosecuted, correct?
Yes.
Now I notice that it says that with the exception of certain delineated paragraphs 1, 8, and 9, no criminal charges will be brought against you, the defendant, for his heretofore disclosed participation in criminal activity involving the murder of Eric Smith in July 2001, the murder of Troy Singleton in October 2001, conspiracy to murder an individual in the vicinity of 161st Street in the Bronx, New York in or about 2000, conspiracy to murder another individual in Harlem, New York in or about 2000, and the distribution of narcotics in or about and between 1998 and January 2006, and there is your initial next to that EM. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're going to be, if the government agrees at the end of the day, if they believe what you are telling them, then you're not going to be prosecuted for those offenses. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Now, you were jailed on January 20th, 2006.
Yes.
And a very short time later, you had your very first proffer session?
Yes.
One of several with the government.
Correct.
Do you remember that? And I believe the first one was on March 21st, 2006.
Correct.
If that sounds familiar to you.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
And then within about 3 weeks from there, you entered into a cooperation agreement on April the 11th, 2006.
Sounds about right.
And you knew when you entered into the cooperation agreement in your proffer sessions that you were facing a potential death penalty at that time?
I don't really recall if I remember that.
Well, you knew you were facing very, very substantial criminal charges.
Absolutely.
And so you came in and you decided to tell the government things that they needed to hear, correct?
Yeah.
Not just about yourself. You weren't just going to talk about yourself.
Correct.
You mentioned that a few moments ago.
Correct.
Now, you started committing criminal offenses when you were 13, isn't that right?
Yes.
And you started out selling drugs?
Yes.
And you possess firearms as well?
Yes.
Now, 13, and then we just fast forward to about the age of 19 or 20. Would it be fair to say that you committed a whole host of an array of different criminal offenses during that period of time?
Yes.
And that would include, but not necessarily be limited to, possession of various firearms.
Yes.
Robberies?
No.
No, you didn't do any robberies, did you?
No.
You just had the guns, but you didn't perpetrate any robberies?
No.
No, but you gave guns to people who were going to perpetrate robberies, isn't that true?
Not to my knowledge.
But you did supply firearms to other people?
What do you...
If somebody needed a gun, you would give them a gun if you had it?
From the ages 13 to 19?
Well?
No, I'm just going by what you're telling me.
That's okay. What age did you start doing that?
Later on, I started doing that much later.
How much later?
Once I guess it's fair to say yes.
And now, of course, a firearm, as you know because of your own activities, that's a lethal weapon, isn't it?
Yes.
Something that could kill somebody?
Yes.
And something that you have killed people with?
Yes.
Yes. So if you gave it to somebody else, you surely must have known or had an inkling that perhaps they were going to kill somebody with it or do something which was not right.
Yes.
Right? That didn't matter to you, did it?
At the time, no.
No. Now I just want to take you to Harrisburg. You were there for about 3 or 4 years, is that correct?
Correct.
Now when you were there, you were selling powdered cocaine, right?
Right.
And that's because you got a better price for the powdered cocaine?
Yes.
How much did you get for that again, just to remind us?
Amounts?
Yes, how much would you sell it for?
$60 a bag.
And if my memory serves, you made about $30,000 in how many weeks?
Maybe 2.
2 weeks?
Week and a half to 2.
A week and a half to 2. Can we call it 10 days? Every 10 days you were making $30,000?
On or about?
On or about. So in a year, and my arithmetic has never been good, but I'm thinking that's got to be about $600,000.
Maybe.
Right? Now, are you familiar with the Internal Revenue Code at all?
No.
You're not familiar with Title 26, Section 61 of the Internal Revenue Code, are you?
No.
Well, that defines your obligation to pay income taxes on gross income from whatever source derived.
Okay.
Did you ever pay a nickel of income taxes on that $600,000 plus? You never paid anything on that, did you?
No.
But you knew that you had an obligation to pay federal income taxes, didn't you?
No.
You didn't know. Don't you ever see the HR block ads every April, starting in about February, going into not Judge Block?
No relationship.
No relationship to Judge Block, but going into February, I mean, you watch TV, right?
Yeah.
And you see the advertisements for tax preparers, right?
Yeah.
That's to help people pay their income tax?
All right, you didn't pay income tax. You didn't think about paying it.
No.
What was going through your mind, deciding you want to pay it, or you didn't have enough money?
I didn't think about it.
You just never thought about it.
Not at that age. I never thought.
Didn't cross your mind at all. Okay, that's his answer.
Now, in 1998, you were released from federal custody?
Yes.
You recall that? And you were subject to conditions of your release?
Yes.
And that's not called parole anymore? That's called supervised release?
Correct.
Right, it means that you're supervised by a United States probation officer, right?
Correct.
And your obligation is to, among other things, not associate with other felons?
Correct.
Because you were at that time a convicted felon?
Yes.
So you had an obligation to stay clear of other people who might point you in the wrong direction, that is, other felons?
Correct.
Correct. But you didn't do that, did you?
No.
No, in fact, you freely associated with pretty much anybody you wanted to, and that would include, but again, not be limited to, individuals who were in the business of committing crimes.
Correct.
Correct? And you knew that that was a violation of the terms of your supervision, you knew that?
Correct.
And how often did you have to report to your probation officer on supervised release, do you recall?
Once a month.
Once a month. And would it be fair to say that every time you met with your probation officer, by the way, do you remember his or her name?
No, I don't.
But you lied to that person
Correct.
about what you were doing?
Correct.
And you knew that if you violated the terms of your supervision, you could go right back to federal prison?
Correct.
That did not deter you, of course, from violating the terms of your supervision?
No, it didn't.
Now, during that period, you worked as a personal trainer?
Correct.
But that was only for about a year and a half?
Yes.
Now, I may have forgotten this, but just correct me if I'm wrong. While you were working as a personal trainer, did you also sell drugs on and off during that period? Not all the time, but on and off during that period.
Correct.
So you kind of had a dual thing going on. You were selling drugs and working at New York Sports Club?
Correct.
And was it during that time that you had that incident with Quan?
Yes.
And you had a gun at that time?
Yes.
Then you basically put it in his face
Correct.
and intimidated him?
Yes.
Now, certainly that was a violation of your supervision.
Absolutely.
No question about that. Not only were you a felon in possession of a firearm, right?
Absolutely.
And by the way, you know that's a separate offense to be in possession of a firearm after you've been convicted of a federal felony, right?
Absolutely.
But you had a gun then?
Yes.
Now I'd like to go and I want to get to Ralph. Could we talk about Ralph for just a minute? Because Ralph killed somebody?
Yes.
And you found out about that?
Yes.
Now, instead of disassociating yourself with Ralph, you decided to assist Ralph in A, boogieing out of town, correct?
Correct.
And B, disposing of the murder weapon?
Correct.
You had a choice, of course, and that choice might have been, Ralph, I'm not down with this. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. This is on you. You do your own thing.
Correct.
But you didn't do that, did you?
No.
You were, I don't want to say eager, but you were happy to help him out any way you could.
Correct.
And that, of course, included tossing the gun in the river. Do you remember what river it was, by the way?
Harlem River Drive.
Oh, the Harlem River. And did you drive him down south, or how did you get down south?
To my recollection, I think we drove him down south.
You drove him down. Now, there was some risk involved in driving him down, don't you think?
Yes.
What if you'd been stopped by a trooper?
Yes.
But you drove him down, you took that chance, and you got him out of town?
Yes.
Now, if I could, I'd like to discuss the death of Charlie Bowe. You were hunting Charlie Bowe, correct?
Correct.
And if you had had a chance, you would have killed him, murdered him, if you had gotten a chance to kill Charlie Bowe?
Correct.
But you never got that opportunity?
Correct.
Because somebody else did?
Correct.
Do you remember who did it?
No.
Well, maybe I could refresh your recollection. Do you recall during your pre-sentence report telling the probation officer that Charlie Bowe and Stymie? Do you remember Stymie?
Absolutely.
Do you remember what they did?
Absolutely.
What did they do?
They tried to rob my mother's house.
Right. And what did they rob it of?
Nothing.
Well, do you recall telling the probation officer that they stole 180 grams of cocaine and then left?
No. It was 180 grams of cocaine in there that they missed.
Well, then the probation officer got it wrong. You would remember that. And you were angry about that, the robbery at your mother's apartment.
I was angry that my little sister was there.
And then you sought assistance in the killing of both Charlie Bowe and Stymie. Do you remember telling the probation officer that, not just Charlie Bowe?
Yes.
Well, you didn't tell us that on direct, and you recruited because you recruit amongst. Not only do you do some of these killings on your own, but you also recruit people to help you out and to assist you in killing others, right?
Yes.
And regarding that incident with Charlie Bowe and Stymie, you recruited, among others, Scotty. Do you remember Scotty?
Yeah, I remember Scotty. I didn't recruit him.
And how about Barry Mungo?
Yes.
And then Charlie Bowe was actually murdered by Scotty. That's what you told the probation officer?
Yeah, that's something that I heard.
That's what you heard?
Yes.
And shortly after Charlie Bowe was killed, Scotty and Mungo spotted Stymie and Scotty shot Stymie, but Stymie fortunately survived the attack. Do you remember that?
That had nothing to do with me.
But you told the probation officer about that?
I didn't tell them.
It says it right here. Here, I'll show it to you. Can you see it on your screen, Mr. Mosley?
Yes.
I'm just gonna point. Can you see where I'm pointing? Do I need to move this at all? Okay, this paragraph right here that I'm pointing to, do you see that? Do you see where my pen is kind of like popping up and down there?
No.
Do you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
What's your question?
Does that refresh your recollection as to what you told the United States probation officer in preparing your pre-sentence report?
No.
It doesn't. Okay. Now, I just want to move forward a little bit to the killing of Eric Smith.
Okay.
Now, you had discussions with Mr. McGriff about that?
Yes.
Right. And he told you that he wanted you to kill Mr. Smith and Mr. Singleton?
Correct.
But it had to happen fast because, and tell me if I'm wrong, there were other people out there interested in killing Mr. Smith and Mr. Singleton?
For him.
For Mr. McGriff had put out not one hit team, but two?
Correct. That's what he told me.
Okay. So in a way, just to bring us to, popular culture for a minute, it was almost like the Amazing Race. Whoever could get this first and kill Mr. Smith or Mr. Singleton, they got paid. That's fair to say, isn't it?
That's fair to say.
So everybody was in kind of a rush to get this done so they would get paid. Specifically, you would get paid?
Correct.
Now over. How old did you say you were now? You're 40.
44.
44, and you've been in custody since 2006?
Correct.
So you went in when you were 36 or 35 or 36 thereabout? Right?
Yes.
Now, can you estimate for us, or guesstimate, I suppose would be a better word, just about how many crimes you committed from the time you were 13 until the time you were 35?
Oh, 30.
30?
20. 30. I don't know. I've never sat down and calculated it.
Now, of course, you know every time you sold drugs that was an individual criminal offense.
Right.
So if you sold drugs 75 times,
75 crimes.
that would be 75 crimes. So are you telling us now that you only committed 30 criminal offenses between the time you were 13 and 35?
Now that you rephrase it that way, I guess it would be
Right,
hundreds.
hundreds, right?
Absolutely.
That's more like it. And how many killings?
To my knowledge, 2.
Just 2?
Just 2.
But you were ready to kill as many people as you could be hired to kill? You got paid, you were ready to go?
I guess you could say that.
And it didn't matter whether you knew the potential victim?
No.
It wouldn't have mattered to you who it was as long as you were going to get down and get paid?
Nah. I wouldn't say that.
If you were going to get paid, you were happy to do it?
Correct.
Or recruit somebody else to do it?
Correct.
Your Honor, can I take a minute to consult with my co-counsel?
Go ahead.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Just 2 questions, Your Honor. One thing I wanted to clarify with you. There was a reference to a prior trial where you testified. That wasn't involving these defendants, was it?
No.
Different case. Okay, the second thing is, Mr. Beecher was asking you about whether the government was interested in hearing about other people and interested in hearing you describe people other than yourself. When you sat down to speak with the government, what is it that they asked you to do?
Tell the truth.
Nothing further.
All right, no other questions. You may step down now. Next witness.